And now that I listed off my top 10 best films of 2019, let's go ahead and jump right into the worst films of 2019, in my opinion. And starting off at number 10 is a movie that had potential, great actor from Octavia Spencer, who really did carry the film, had a great premise, but the execution of it was lacking hard. Certain things could have been done differently in the story that could have made it better, I felt, but it just didn't do it, and it just did not live up to the hype that I was expecting, as well as other people that surround me was expecting. It wasn't great. And at number 9 is Playing with Fire, which I had no expectations for in the first place. It gave just a bare minimum of enjoyment, but not enough. Some performances were good enough for the film. Some of them weren't good enough at all. It was just more generic than anything. Nothing super original or anything creative to offer as a film. And it was a film that I could have just threw away and just whatever, which I did and completely forgot about. And at number 8 is Midway. This is a movie that could have been dope, but it wasn't. The acting was bland. It had a bad balance of characters. The CG was not good. I was taken out of the film early enough to where the rest of the film I just did not care for. It just really didn't do anything for me. And it was I don't know. Yeah. And at number 7 is Black Christmas, which was just another teen horror film. I like where they were going with the change in how the film was compared to the other films that came before it, but the execution was poor and the acting was decent, but not decent enough to save this film. Now at number 6 is After. Now this movie does not hide the fact that it does take inspiration from 50 Shades, but just does it bad. Just doesn't add anything to it. Bad acting, bad story, and there is no enjoyment to be had from this movie. And coming in at number 5 is Cold Pursuit, a film that I defended surrounding the controversy around the movie, but I cannot defend how bad this movie is. Elements of the movie made no sense to how certain actions were taken. It had no emotional aspect, and it had the potential to be better, but just wasn't, and it was very disappointing. And coming in at number 4 is The Beach Bum, which is a movie that had nothing to offer. And out of all the nothing movies that have ever been made, this has got to be one of the movies that are at the top. This had no narrative to the story. There was no story arc for the main character, and Matthew McConaughey was pretty decent in the film, but it wasn't a great film for him to really dive into. But I really did not enjoy this film. I really didn't. And at number 3 is Ugly Dolls, which is a movie, if I wasn't seeing it with my son, I probably would have walked out on. This movie had no creativeness, no laughs. The animation was pretty decent. It was generic as hell. And I literally wanted to leave the theater while it was in. I just didn't get no enjoyment out of the movie, and it had nothing really to offer me. It was just a bad movie. Now at number 2 is Doom Annihilation. Now, as a reboot that's supposed to do everything right that the Rock Doom movie didn't do, this did not really execute it well. As bad as people may have hated the first one, this movie didn't do any better. Bad CG, bad action, bad acting, writing, the prosthetics was horrible, and as far as video game movies go, this would be at the bottom of the barrel. And so that brings us to The Covenant number 1, which is a movie I despised the hell out of last year, The Final Wish. It was bad all around. Bad all around. The acting, the story, the writing, weak scares, and just a waste of time and money. It was just deplorable. Just deplorable. Like, this movie, it got under my skin of how bad it was. I paid $12 on it. That's why I stayed through the whole movie. But other than that, this had nothing to offer. It was just horrible. Horrible. Just horrible.